I mean, this day can be pretty emotional. I think you guys ended in a way that maybe you wouldn't have been happy with. But what is it like as you try and grapple with the way the last series went and turn the page to the summer?
Yeah, obviously a lot of emotions. It's I feel like those games were much closer than the score indicated. Obviously, the first two were 1-goal decisions, but a puck bounce either way could have made the series completely different. Charlotte's a really committed team. They stuck to their game plan. They had 20 guys buy in, and they were relentless on pucks and made it really difficult for us to gain a lot of offense. And they played just like their parent team, the Panthers, and you just see like the suffocating style that they play. And we, our penalty kill did a great job this series, and our power play came up short. And myself and the other 9 guys on the power play have to execute. In the end, special teams wins and loses games, and they could have won us some games, and we fell short. Personally, just going to take the summer, reflect on my game, where I can get better. Felt, my 2 years here in Hershey, I've, working with Pat Weller, my game's just gotten better and better. It's a credit to his coaching, so we'll see where the chips land.
This game, you guys have played so much hockey, this group in particular. I know you for a couple seasons here, but when you have a second period like that where it feels like you just can't ever clear the puck and do anything consistently, how frustrating can that be, knowing that the season's on the line, and does it feel like maybe it just gets out of hand?
Yeah, I mean, we were kind of spinning the tires looking for some answers there in the second period. It had been a theme all year. Our second periods weren't great. Something that we were trying to fix, and for whatever reason, we just couldn't find a way to solve that issue. Eventually, that comes to bite us in the backside come last game. But just kind of looking for answers there. Get back to the drawing board. I don't know what kind of different preparation we might need, but it was definitely an Achilles heel this whole year. I thought we would come out great and finish games great, and that second period would just kind of slip away from us.
What was it about the power play that you guys just couldn't seem to get it to click most of the season?
I'm going to be honest. If I had an answer, I think our power play would have clicked a little bit better. Their penalty kill does a great job. They're high octane. You don't see many penalty kills in this league or in any league that try to score goals as frequently as they do. And any chance that they get, they're looking for offense, even if that means a rush coming the other way. And I think so many times when you're on the power play, you're constantly looking for offense and you're looking at ways to score. And so you're cheating on the offensive side of the puck to gain those advantages. And you play a team like that, and they take those advantages, and they create opportunities themselves. And so just figuring out, you almost had to play more of a 5-on-5 style against that and forecheck, and it was less of making plays and more of just being hard on pucks and finding your man and finishing checks and recovering pucks and just getting the puck to the net. And eventually, I going back and watching the film, I don't think we shot the puck nearly enough on the power play. We were looking for the shot or the play where sometimes it's just a greasy goal in the blue paint, and yeah.
Is there a moment over the last year or two that you personally overcame that you're particularly proud of?
I don't know if there's one moment that comes to mind. Give a lot of credit to my wife, Sydney. She's back in Connecticut. She works at Quinnipiac. She's the director of player development there for their women's hockey team. It's not easy doing distance. I don't think a lot of people realize you don't just, some people get to, but you don't just get to uproot your whole family and move, whether it's every year or you get traded in the middle of the year. So doing distance is difficult. A lot of nights, we finish playing here Saturday night, Sunday night. I get in the car, drive 4 hours to go see her, spend my, my off day there, and then vice versa with her and her schedule. So, I'm lucky. I've got a great support cast with her and my mom, and just leaning on them. It's it's not always easy being here, by yourself. But yeah, just, give her a lot of credit. It's not easy for her as well, and we make the most of it, so.
playing playoff hockey and winning, we talked maybe in Bridgeport early in the year, you guys were, okay, we maybe had a good period, bad period. How difficult is it to continue to dig that deep, Chase, to play at that level? Like, whether it be for a regular season game when you need it, when, you know what I mean, when you're looking at the stands on, we've been talking about it all year long. How exhausting mentally and physically is winning and then trying to come back and defend, whether it's 2 or 1?
Yeah, it's extremely difficult. I think the most exhausting part of it is when you have such a high level of success for so long, when you're not finding that success, it's not so much the frustration that sets in, but it's the emotional fatigue of understanding of the level that you can play at and then not finding par. And you're constantly chasing that success again, and you fall short, and you try to find it. And for whatever reason, it just felt like this year we would have great success at times, and then there were games where we would put together a great game and fall short, and you can live with those. And then, you're trying to find that success and you're trying to claw back, and the mental fatigue starts to set in because, a lot of guys, they won 2 championships or they won a championship last year, and you look and go, okay, we're doing the same things, we're playing the same style, why are we not having success? And you go back to the drawing board or you watch the video, and sometimes there are no answers, whether you go to block a shot and it hits your stick and rainbows up and somehow ends up in the back of the net, or, you go to clear a puck and you miss the glass by an inch and then they go down and score on the power play, or, you break a stick and somehow the puck 3 seconds later, the guy who was supposed to have a stick, the puck ends up in the back of the net, and you go, okay, well, if he didn't break his stick, it's a different game. But it kind of felt like last year when we were getting those bounces, you ride the momentum on those, and this year it just didn't seem like we were getting those bounces consistently, and, mental fatigue starts to set in.
Which makes winning 9 straight playoff series that much more improbable?
Yeah. I think people forget how difficult it is to do it. We've been lucky here, I only got to win 1 championship, but they got to win 2 championships back to back, and even the success we had this year, still winning the division. A lot of teams would kill to win the division for 1 year. And it seems like they get to do it here every year. So to fall short of winning a Calder Cup definitely sucks. But at the end of the day, you got to also look at the good. And we had a great year. I think a lot of guys took steps forward. Personally, career-wise, so, you just have to just build on that and just realize it gets harder every year. There's a new crop of players that come in that want to establish themselves as everyday American League players, guys that are pushing for NHL jobs, guys that are now getting older. And, I don't want to say the clock has started, but, the reality is there are always prospects coming up. There's always the new wave that wants to be there. So you just have to show that much more. What makes you successful, how you can help a team, why you should be the guy that, is in the lineup every night, or why you should be the guy that gets the call up. So I think that's the fun part about sports. You never know who's going to take off at what time. And you look at Big Mac last night, 32 years old, full-time in the National Hockey League, and he's the man. So it's great to see him and, have him around and reading the starting lineup. But you just see how successful he is, and at this point in his career, and you never know, it's never too late.
One more. What is it like to play under the expectations and pressure in Hershey?
It's extremely difficult. I don't want to make it seem too big, but I don't think people really understand how difficult it is coming to the rink with the expectation that you're supposed to win every game. It's not realistic to go, 72-0, right? Things are going to happen, but the expectation is, you play at home in front of the home crowd, you're expected to win. You go on the road, you're expected to win. You've got a longer list of rostered players every night that, contribute in this league that aren't playing and would be everyday regulars anywhere else. And if you're not, you string together 1, 2, 3 games and you're not playing well, there's another guy that's ready to step in and take your job. And it sounds cutthroat, but the reality is it is. There are a lot of guys that we could have had playing in, in the regular season, could have had playing in the playoffs, and we went in different directions. And, we have a lot of guys that could be playing anywhere else. But just it goes to show the care for management to want to win, the depth of the roster, and it puts a lot of pressure on the guys. But I think that's what makes Hershey great. I think a lot of guys thrive under that, and I think that's why they do such a good job developing guys for the National Hockey League. And then they get to that level and, they take off.
And one last thing I wanted to ask you was, last year you won a Calder Cup here and you were drafted by Washington. What did it mean to experience that success for the team that drafted you, basically?
It was awesome. I've always looked at this organization as kind of the pinnacle, how they run things from the National League to the American League, even to the coast. Like they do things the right way at all three levels, and I truly believe that's why they have organizational depth, and I believe that's why they have success at every level. It doesn't just happen at the top. You're taught how to win. And for guys that, see all three levels, like a guy like Logan Thompson, he learned how to win. And then you get to the NHL and you've already been through those moments. And I think a lot of people take that for granted and or they don't realize the value in winning in this league. You don't just roll over one day and become a champion. Was so thankful for the opportunity to come back here after not signing when I was in college. And then to win was kind of the cherry on top with how great this organization is. I mean, it sounds cheesy, but it's the reality. Like it's how it is. And, I've learned a lot as a professional on how to win and what it takes for, to be a leader. I got to play under guys like McElrath, Ness, Rowe, I can't speak enough about how great those individuals are and how great of professionals they are and what they do for, a locker room. And they inspire me to be a better leader, to be a better player. And I think that just goes to show the care that they have. Especially in the mentorship aspect. There are a lot of guys that can learn from them. They're the epitome of a pro's pro. But yeah, I'm super happy to come back. Extremely proud of the work we did last year. Extremely proud of the work we did this year. I don't want to understate how great of a season we had. Obviously, we came up short, but we had a great year. I think a lot of guys took big steps forward, and they should be proud of that.
Thank you, Chase.